off your engine!
Well, Mazda's finally done it. They got their first all-electric vehicle. Now, it's only going to be for sale in Japan and Europe so far. It's called the MX-30. And the people that have drove them said they're more fun to drive than the CX-30. They're a little crossover, and now they didn't want it to weigh too much, so they put a smaller battery in it. And they claim it can go 124 miles if you're very conservative with the pedal, and I'm sure that's what the AC turned off too. What Mazda's going for here is people that have a commute that's a reasonable amount of miles but not outrageous. So if it's got a range of 120, let's say you commute 20 miles there and 20 miles back to work, that's 40. So it'll easily do that if you charge it up every night. They went for a smaller battery because they wanted to keep the weight down. It's not a cross-country vehicle. They're looking for people that are driving certain urban areas or suburban areas. That's why they're selling it in Europe and Japan. Not in the United States yet. I'm assuming they'll probably bring it here if they see how the sales go there. But, you know, their driving's a lot different than ours. In Europe, most people don't drive all that far. They're going far to get on a train or something. In Japan, hey, they don't have all that many roads. I've had friends in Japan, and they said they only put like 1,000 miles a year on their cars because they don't put that many miles on it. So, yeah, they're testing it out there. But now there is an electric Mazda out there. We'll see if it comes to the United States anytime soon. Clarence Wheeler says, I got a 2014 Chevy Cruze with blow-by, leaks coolant. Have a $20,000 note on it. What should I do? Well, you should check yourself into the nearest asylum because anybody that paid that kind of money for that pile of junk is insane. There's no ifs, ands, or buts on that. You got taken for a ride. They don't make those stupid things anymore because they were such piles of junk. I mean, if you can try to sell it, go ahead, but nobody's going to give you diddly squat for that thing. You got taken for a ride. I mean, try to find a guy like me that can fix it as cheap as he can and try to drive it, but I mean, you're going to lose a lot of money any way you look at it. Dan Brand 67 says, Scotty, I bought a CLK 430 convertible with 75,000 miles from an old lady for $1,750 in mint condition. I hear it's a good engine. What do you think? Well, they're great engines. I got one sitting in the driveway here. It's a 550, but it's falling apart. Now, it does have 112,000 miles on it. I'll give you that. And it is pretty well worn out. I'm hoping you got less miles on it, but $1,750 for a car, you know, that was $60, $70, $80,000 new. What the heck? If it runs and it lasts more than a couple months, you got your money. Use it as a toy. Use it on weekends. Use it to go to parties with. Do not use it as an everyday driver. You never know. You can have fun. For that kind of money, what do you have to lose? Somebody says, oh, you need a transmission, it's going to cost you $7,000. Sell it to somebody else. Val Bachman says, hey, I got a 2003 Volkswagen Jetta. It needs $1,200 for a blown head gasket. I want to use it as a beater car to save my new cars. Good idea. Hey, the only thing I'd use that for a beater car is I would put it out, I'd have a raffle, and people could buy tickets to beat it with a sledgehammer for $20 a piece. And maybe you could get hundreds of people to beat it, and you could make some money, and then sell the Hulk to a junkyard. Don't waste your money on that thing. $1,200 may or may not fix the engine. Who knows? They're piles of junk. Let it go. But maybe have a little raffle and charge $20 a pop for people to beat it with a sledgehammer, and you might make money on it. And you could find there's a lot of people out there that really hate Volkswagens because they bought them and they were horrible cars, and they'll gladly pay $20 to whack one with a sledgehammer. Mo Chili says, our 2008, 2012 Nissan Titan, good trucks. They're decent trucks. They're not the greatest trucks, but they're not the worst either. And they're above average. With V8s in them, and they have a lot of power. You can pull stuff with them. They won't last as long as a Toyota Tundra or an F-150, but they're okay trucks. They're a lot better than the GM trucks and tons better than the Dodge trucks. They're not bad trucks, and you can get them cheaper, especially used. Big Smoke says, hello, Scotty. Greetings from Sweden. I recently bought a Volvo 740 GLE as my first car for $1,200. Works great. Has around 150,000 miles. What do you think about this car? Okay, back in those days, it was an 87. Those things were built like tanks. And you live in Sweden. You can get parts of those things easily and cheaply. No problems. Here in the United States, parts for Volvos are a lot higher than they are in Europe. But those were great cars. Even back in the day when my customers had those cars here, they loved them because they got so many miles out of them. They didn't care that they were expensive pairs when they finally broke down. So it was a good move in Sweden. AS says, what do you recommend for a reliable automatic sports car? I don't like automatics, but hey, Mazda Miatas, those things run forever. They're the only two-wheel sports cars in the world that ever sold more than 1 million of their models. So they can run a long time. They're much more fun with the standard, but they make them with automatics, and the newer ones aren't too bad. The older ones are horrible with automatics, but new ones are quite well made. They're one of the few sports cars you can buy that don't cost a fortune and don't break down. Molly says, 1, 2, 3. Scotty, I need a daily driver for less than $4,000. I was thinking of getting a Corolla or an Accord. What should it be? I'd get the Corolla because the Accords are much more expensive cars. So for $4,000, odds are you're going to find a better used Corolla than you are used Accord. The Accord's going to have to move more miles on it because it's a more expensive car. And the Corollas actually will even outlast the Accords. I've seen them with 500,000 miles, still going strong with basic maintenance. VMA862 says, you should enable Super Chat so we can donate to you. You don't need to donate to me anything. Watch my videos so you can learn things and help yourself out. Every time you watch one of my videos, I average about 3/4 cent from the Google ad profit. So I get 3/4 cent when you watch my videos, which you might not think is much, but I've got over 1 billion views, so do the math. I'm doing perfectly fine. You don't need to send me any money. Just watch my videos, learn things, save yourself money, tell your friends to watch them so we can have everybody in the world understanding how not to get ripped off with cars and car repair. Kenneth Jabay says, would you turbocharge any of your cars? No, they work perfectly fine the way they are. I want speed, I get on my Triumph motorcycle. That's the speed burner in a family. If you want a fast car, buy a big fast car with a big engine. Don't just put a turbocharger in because that just strains it and it's going to wear out faster. And I'm 66 years old. I don't care about going 200 miles an hour anymore. I did it when I was a kid. Now I don't care about it anymore. I generally drive the speed limit or 5 or 10 miles an hour above the speed limit. That's about it. It doesn't matter anything to me. And I don't want my machines to wear out because I'm old. I don't even work on, I don't like working on my own cars. I never did. I worked on customers' cars. So I get Toyotas and Lexuses that don't break, and I'm happy. And I don't want to make them wear out faster by putting a turbocharger on them. The pro says, should I buy my old 2003 Chevy Avalanche from the salvage yard? It has 253,000 miles. Well, it depends what kind of shape it's in. That's a lot of mileage. I mean, I have had people buy cars in salvage yards. Sometimes they take them in there, and the guys in the salvage yards will get it running, and they'll find out that all the stupid thing just needed a computer module or something else to get it running, or a fuel pump, and now it runs okay. Don't pay much, though. An old truck like that with all that mileage isn't worth much. But if it runs and you can drive it around and it shifts gears, and when you park it, a bunch of fluids don't drip all on the ground, what the heck? If you get it cheap enough, I've had people do that and come out okay. Hopefully you know a little bit about machines, though. If you don't even try. That's Flu says, do you still visit Canada? Well, I can't now because I'm in Texas and they have the border closed. Yeah, I visit all the time. My mother still lives up in Niagara Falls, and I got tons of friends in Canada. I made lifelong friends in college in Canada. I mean, Canadians are cool people. It's a very nice place. They tax them a little bit too much, and they got to pay through the nose for everything, but they're all pretty much middle class, except for some of the motorcycle guys. I met some of the motorcycle gang guys there when I was young, riding around on motorcycles, and they were just as Hells Angels were, you know. I mean, they had a group of them in Montreal, so the normal Canadians, they're normal, happy-go-lucky people, and I go there whenever I can to visit. It's fun. Nathan Lorimore says, how can we ask you questions anytime? Well, you can't. I'm a busy man. You can't ask me questions anytime. My wife would divorce me. She gets mad enough that I spend so much time answering people's questions. Hey, I'm here every Tuesday, every Thursday at 1 p.m., every Saturday at 10 a.m. You can watch me then. I mean, that's what I'm here for. That's why I started making the videos, because I realized I can't talk to everybody individually, so I can make videos, and all of my videos apply to many things. If I show fixing a leak in a car, it isn't just that car, it fits any car out there. So watch my videos and learn. And if you do have a question, ask them when the show's here. You can email me, but yeah, you should see my email every day when I get it. There's no way I could read them all. It's impossible. Ronell Reyes says, Scotty, my car's difficult to start when it warms up. It doesn't have any problems when it's cold. Any thoughts? Yeah. When a car is cold, it needs extra gas. Extra gas, it'll start. So let's say your fuel injectors drip a little fuel. It'll start right up. But once it's warmed up, it has to be lean. That extra fuel will flood the engine out. So if you find it's hard to start when you go to eat lunch after you drove it a couple hours, but you wait 5 hours, it starts right up, odds are it's flooding itself out. Get the fuel injectors pressure clean. Pray you don't need to buy an injector. That's the main thing that goes out then. They flood out when they're warm, and then they're hard to start. Now, let's say it's not flooding out. Have your fuel pump checked, because sometimes as they get hot, they short out, then they won't pump fuel, but then eventually they do, and you'd have to replace the fuel pump. Suburban Dude says, what do you think of a BMW X3? One of the worst vehicles ever made. Do a little research about those things. They cost a fortune to buy new. When they break, they cost a fortune to fix. As they age, they fall apart with grim regularity. You don't want to buy one of those piles of junk. They look good, but they were badly engineered, poorly designed, poorly built, and they are just money pits as they age. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.